Alright, so here's this week's weekly solo flawless Nightfall on master difficulty. We have the Glassway this week, which is known as one of the hardest Nightfalls, at least as far as the boss fight. The modifiers for this week are Togetherness, Solar Shanks, and the daily modifier is Lightning Crystals. So this poses a couple of considerations when attempting to do this solo. One, with Togetherness, you need to have a plan to heal yourself because your health regen only procs naturally and efficiently when you're next to allies. So I've gone with a Warlock with a high recovery stat so that I could spam Healing Rift throughout the whole mission. Solar Shanks aren't a huge issue even without a solar weapon. I originally played this through a few times with the Solar LMG fixed odds from Duality Dungeon with Incandescent, and I probably saved about 3 minutes on the whole run up to the boss fight by being able to instantly melt all the Shanks. This was especially useful in the third phase when the barrier servitor spawns and tends to want to tether all the Shanks, making them immune. The only downside here is it's a big problem at the boss fight. Trying to use a low damage, non-matching burn for heavy weapon becomes a real struggle. There's no solar shields for one in the boss fight, but more importantly there's lots of wyverns, there's several champions, and they can all pose an immediate threat. So fixed odds was useless for that. So I decided to just go with a Void rocket launcher to match the burn, get that 25% damage bonus with high burst damage. So the trade-off here was I just dealt with a few extra minutes to take care of the Shanks on the way to the boss, but the Monarque's poison tick damage and the Arc Soul's consistency actually got through the shields just fine. The section before the boss fight with the plates, when I was using fixed odds, I was just able to stand on the plate the whole time and instantly take out all the Shanks, but instead I had to step on and off and just take out a few at a time. As far as the daily modifier Lightning Crystals, well, this has been a fan favorite all season because it increases all of your ability regen significantly. The trade-off is that you take more damage from Arc and Stasis, so just like I did in my previous Nightfall using an Arc Warlock, I'm using the exotic headpiece, the Stag, which gives extra damage resistance while standing in my Rift. And you'll notice that I'm pretty much casting Rift and standing in it throughout the whole mission. On top of that, I have 100 Resilience, Spark of Resistance for the Fragments, and I'm covering Arc, Solar, and Void resistances on my chest piece for mods. I'm also producing Void Wells to get Well of Tenacity for even more resistance. Champions in this mission are Anti-Barrier and Overload. So to take care of that, I'm using Tears of Contrition, my crafted scout rifle with enhanced explosive payload and auto-loading holster. I absolutely love this scout. Being able to pull it out, stun the barrier, and stow it without ever having to worry about reloads, makes taking out barriers pretty much a cakewalk. As I already mentioned, I'm using the Monarque for my exotic. It has intrinsic overload, and it does void damage, so it matches the burn to get the additional 25% damage. Not only that, but the poison tick damage is useful against the boss because it penetrates the Hydra's shield. So if you're wondering why I'm shooting the boss and the baby Hydra's shield, just pay attention to the tick damage it does, regardless of not making direct impact. I'm also using the Overload Bow mod on top of that because it stuns the overloads more consistently than the intrinsic rounds themselves. Without the mod, it seems like only fully drawn shots or crits and the poison damage will stun the overload. So it's useful to know. I'm not going to comment through the whole video, but I'll go over the boss fight and how the mechanics work because this is the part that people struggle with the most. So I'll do that when I reach that point in the video. If you want to skip ahead, feel free. I have it in the timestamps below and in the description of the video. So I'll see you when I get there.
Elizabeth, you must know why Clovis built the portal.
Greed. Obsession. The list is long. If you asked him, he would have told you he was saving humanity. Collecting the radiolarian fluid from the Vex that came through was the prime purpose. I wanted it shut down. Clovis wouldn't have it. Once again, he flew too close to the sun, and once again, the rest of us paid for it. Bastard.
Alright, so here we go. Time to get rid of Belmont the boss and the baby Hydra. First thing when entering the room, there's going to be a few red bar adds, one overload. Once they're all dead, the boss fight begins. So I like to play the left room for the duration of the boss fight. So ideally, I try to stun the overload on the left side before he teleports to right. I kill him in the adds, and then I can quickly get to the far left side where the next wave of adds is going to spawn, along with the boss in the middle. Okay, so there's 3 phases to the boss's health. After each phase of damage, he will despawn and then respawn again in the giant middle portal. The adds, the champions, the wyverns, depends which wave of enemies are spawning. They're always going to spawn from the smaller portals adjacent to the boss portal. So there's one on the left, one on the right. Because I'm only playing the left side, I try to take out the adds and the champions as they emerge from the left portal. So if I could take them out quickly, I could then focus myself back to the left room. Now because I'm not able to spawn kill the right portal, those enemies are going to make their way to the left room and try to flank me. So I have to be ready for them because they're going to be close range and in my face. Now the baby Hydra is also going to be in the room with you. He's going to be harassing you the whole time, but it's not a huge threat. What's important to know is that the baby's health is actually the trigger for the next wave of enemies. So don't deal a chunk of damage on the baby until you know that all the other red bars and champions, what have you, are dead. So once you've cleared them out, you can then damage the baby. Now the baby, just like Belmont, has 3 fractions of health. Once you deal about half of 1/3 of damage to his health bar, pay attention to the text on the left side of your screen. This is almost critical because it will always tell you when Vex reinforcements and or champions appear. And like I mentioned, they spawn from the 2 portals, left and right. So I try to keep myself on the left side of the room while dealing with the baby. As soon as I deal enough damage to trigger the next wave of enemies, I can then go outside of the left side of the room. I can look at the portal. I can try to nade it, use rockets, do as much burst damage to that spawn as quickly as possible. Okay, so when the wyverns come out, they're more dangerous than the champions because you can't stun them. And they will just immediately kill you if they get too close. So they're the biggest threat in this whole boss fight. So if you can spawn kill one from a distance, just by going outside of the left room and waiting for that spawn, you then save your super for the other wyvern that is going to be flanking you in the left room. He's going to be in your face before you know it. So super is the best way to take him out. Rift is not going to save you. Reloading rockets is not going to save you. That's what your super is for. Alright, so once the wyverns and the adds are dealt with, then you can then finish dealing damage to the baby until it goes immune. Then the only thing left is going to be Belmont, and he's going to be either hugging the left side of the room outside, or he's going to be on the right. If you have heavy ammo, you can use it sparingly, but save up your super for the next flanks of adds. So you can safely stay in the room and slowly damage him until he despawns. Just do tick damage with the Monarque. Use your anti-barrier to pierce his shield. Like I said, use rockets sparingly if you know you have enough, but make sure you have like half of your reserves at all times at least, in case you're in a pinch and you need to deal with wyverns or whatever. So once Belmont despawns, or goes immune, another wave of champions and adds, and the baby are going to come back. So you take them out, deal damage to the baby, pay attention to the text, spawn kill the one wyvern, be ready to burst damage the other wyvern. When he flanks, DPS the baby until he goes immune. Deal damage to Belmont, and you basically rinse and repeat this same cycle until the end. However, so the Vex barriers, one thing to note, they're never going to storm the room that you're in. So if you want to get platinum rank, you have to go outside of the room to find them and take them out, which is very risky. Also, they seem to regen their health much quicker than fallen servitors, and Belmon the boss tends to protect them as soon as you start doing damage to them. And he'll get in the way, so if you can bait the boss to one side, then go out the other side, try and find the barrier, nade it, stun it immediately, then rock it. You should be able to take them out quickly before the boss is able to get an angle on you and kill you. And his void splash damage is super deadly, so you'll notice I don't like to mess around when exposing myself to him without any cover at all. So whenever I have to go outside to take care of barriers, it's as quickly as I possibly can. And if for some reason I can't take them out right then and there, oh well, just gotta get out of there. Go back, try again. So the only other thing, just to remember, pay attention to the text when dealing damage to the baby. Once all the adds and champions are done, usually the baby will be at half of his last third of health, 1/6 of his health basically. Make sure no other champions are alive. Then you can kill the baby. Then you can kill Belmon, and that's it. Alright, so hopefully that helps. Enjoy the rest of the video. If you did, a like, a subscription would be wonderful. I like chatting with people, so feel free to comment, and I'll see you in the next one.
Vex are down for the count.
Good riddance, evil bastards. Until next time.